learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in on March 21st, 2022, and the stock market is going to go crazy this week. We got Powell 3 times. We got the expiration out of the way. Some people are talking about value rotation, and then we got a couple of main factors. So not going to be a lot of economic data this week. We still got to hear about Ukraine. There's a couple of updates that we're going to start with, but for the most part, a lot of people are going to be focusing on Powell, and before you know it, earnings season is already here. We got Nike and Adobe this week, so let's see what's about to happen. But I got a good recap for you. We're going to talk quickly about the news, then I'm going to go over the plays and the ones that I'm already holding. We got a lot from last week, and depending on how things play out, we'll see which ones are viable, and then I'm going to just give you the breakdown of what to expect and some of the main factors that we're going to be watching. So drop your thumbs up on the video, make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/thestockmarket. We will see you there in the morning. But what you're watching here, this is the random play generator, random account, whatever you want to call it. But what we ask on this watch list, you post a random option trade, strike price, expiration, all of that. Keep it below $100. We're going to pick a random play here in the morning, and we're going to, see what happens. But Chad, you're doing good, baby. So keep it up. I forgot to sell out one of them, the RTX. So we'll see. It was a big expiration too. So Chad, keep posting. But right off the bat, like I said, it's kind of simple. And here's where we're going to be focusing on. I mean, honestly, this week, the rate hike odds, this is going to be in focus. We're hearing Powell 3 different times. So he's speaking tomorrow, and then there's like a 2-day innovation conference. So a lot of people are going to be looking at Powell. We'll go over the rate hike odds and what you need to be looking for. Another thing here, if you didn't see what happened Thursday, Friday, especially Friday, it was a very big bounce, and now you got people talking about the big rotation back out of value into some of the beaten down tech. So that's what we're going to be watching for. Again, now that we had that big option expiration, you got the rate hike from the Fed. If things can stabilize, that's what we're going to see. But if this week does not end up gassing, I mean, you may hear this one later, but for now, with a lot of green that we saw coming into it, this is definitely what a lot of people are going to be talking about. And then finally, this will relate to Ukraine. I'll give you the updates here in a second, but really, are the commodity prices going to stay stable? Don't forget, you had that nickel fiasco last week, and then you were watching what happened with commodities. And to bring you to the first pretty picture, what some people are saying now is that a lot of the oil-driven moves may have just been because of liquidation and crazy positions. What this chart is showing you, this is the amount of bullish contracts on WTI, and it's fell to the same amount that we had in April 2020. So now that there's a lot of liquidations, people are closing it back. People are saying the wild swings are because of other reasons. So we'll see what happens there, but commodities this week is definitely going to be a big focus. And then we saw it a little bit last week. We're going to see how it plays out, but China closures and openings. You've been getting a lot of COVID headlines in Europe and China, but China reopened one of the ports that they closed. So we'll see if that continues this week, but that will definitely be a big focus. And then as far as Ukraine now, we are probably going to hear about peace talks. There was something about renegotiations and Turkey getting in the middle there, so I'd watch out for that and any other developments. But the most recent one that we got in pretty much in like 7 hours, around like 10 p.m. Pacific time, we should get an update. But Russia, they delivered an ultimatum for Ukraine to surrender Mariupol. I can't say it, but they pretty much said to evacuate the city, and they demanded a response by the Ukraine's government. So we'll see how it plays out. There was a couple of headlines, again, more oil companies like Halliburton and another one that were exiting out of Russia. Then Germany did an agreement with natural gas with Qatar, so that could have ended up being positive, but we'll see how this one plays out. Otherwise, remember, last week we didn't get much. You did hear like missile attacks or hypersonic missiles from Russia over the weekend, but it didn't seem like it startled anybody. So we'll see how the markets take it. But again, a lot of people are going to be looking at China. How do they open up? Remember what happened last week? The commodities, we'll see if the green and rotation continues. And then ultimately, if we are going to get new developments or people freaking out, we got to watch out for the Fed futures. So there's all of that. You're also going to be getting Adobe, Nike, Carnival Cruise Lines, and I believe like Tencent and a couple of others futures, they are going to be reporting. And then after this week, in like 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to get a lot of companies. So depending on the type of tone they set, we'll see how this plays out. But definitely watch out for some of those. We will have potential plays. So before we get into the plays, I got quick company news. Again, it was Baker Hughes, Halliburton, and Schlumberger. Those were the ones that left Russia. There was an update on Coinbase over the weekend. Jim Chanos announced that he's shorting it, so stock fell there after hours. And then General Motors, they bought back their stake from SoftBank in their Cruise, their self-driving startup. And then Xerox, they were awarded a $194 million defense logistics contract. So we'll see how that one plays out, but there was that. And now, even before we get to the plays, I want to just go over the main things. We talked about this last week. Do not forget about this. We are looking at the Fed futures and the probability of a double hike there in the April or the May contracts. This is what we want to see, but then you also want to watch December. Again, it is very simple. If you're watching the Fed rate monitor tool, if the probability of a double hike goes up, this chart goes down, that is negative. Watch for any divergence and watch. If this goes lower, market may be prone to follow it. But the one thing you're going to watch with this week, if we are going to kill any rally or it's going to make any rally sus, it's really going to just depend here on the contracts. If you watch these go down and the rally continue, that divergence gets wider, and I do not like that. But if these could chill out and the market does good, that could overall be good. So watch out for those. And then just one more thing, we want to watch how China opens. Like we said last week, anytime you watch a 20% drop, this is going to be key. And what you want to watch for, again, divergence. Do you watch this either move in tandem with the market, or do you watch another pattern play out, and then do you start seeing assets move in two different directions? That is going to be risky. If not, if we see a lot of assets all across the world, the globe, and everything do good, that could support a lot of the rally this week. So keep your eyes out for that. And now that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got a couple of different plays that I'm going to go over, but the three that I really like coming into this week, EWZ, this is the first one. I'll go over the play here in a second. I also grabbed a VWO as an emerging market, but EWZ is Brazil, and my line of logic here is pretty simple. Whether we got a commodity crush or not, if we see a bounce with a lot of these emerging markets, I think Brazil could do good, and with how some of the commodity things have played out, they stand to be kind of one of those winners. So I'm really going to be watching them. We made a play. It went up like 30% there on Friday, but still really like it. Again, it is related to the commodities, so let's see how they play out, especially if oil goes down this week or things really chill out. I really want to see how these guys perform, but EWZ, VWO, both of those can get affected there by China, so watch out for that. But that's the first play. We'll go over here in a second. Then Airbnb, you know we've been holding this one. We did make a short-term play on Friday, but it was moving like it was having earnings there on Friday, and it's really, if the bullishness that we saw continues, I'm really going to be watching out for this rotation into some of the beaten down tech from value, and I think Airbnb, they will do good. I kept saying this on Friday. They were really moving as if it was an earnings day already, so their earnings is in about 2 months, but if things start to bounce, especially some of the travel names, but you see that growth continue, and that's why just watch the other factors here with China, the rest of the globe, Fed futures. If we do get a lot of bounce week and we finally are able to chill out, this is definitely a name I'm going to be watching, especially after Friday. You even got Roblox on the list, and we'll talk about it too. And then finally, Nike and Adobe, they are having earnings. I like both of these names. We had FedEx and UPS last week. Some of the pre-earnings were pretty good, so going to be keeping my eyes out for both of these. We don't have plays, and it really depends on what type of move we get in the morning, because if everything is still really bullish, it can make some of these earnings plays hard. So watch out for that and keep it small, if anything, until we really see everybody get a little bit more comfortable with what we've been getting. So those are the main plays. As far as the actual plays now, here was the EWZ that we got the other day, or this one was on Friday. I only grabbed 2 of them. I bought them at like 69 cents, so they haven't hit the highest they've been at, but again, this is a Brazil ETF here. Let me show you up here so it doesn't get rid of our other options, but they've had a nice 2 days, and really with China too, they've been doing good, but you can see it kind of looks like a chart there with like wheat, oil, and all of that. So depending on how the commodities, they will do good, but I think they might be able to ignore it. So we'll see what happens. I think they got a lot more meat on the bone, if anything. So this is why these could be some good plays, but those plays go out to June. And then I grabbed the VWO. I don't think they're up on here, but I ended up grabbing a July $49 call, and I think they were like $1 $1.28, so they got a little bit more room. But again, emerging markets, this one is linked a little bit more to China, so we still got those old FXI plays. We'll even see how they perform. I got 2 more for free, and that's what a lot of eyes are going to be on. Do you see the China stocks rebound like they did? And understand, a lot of last week, that's where a lot of fuel came from. So if that eliminates it, then we'll really have to see the beaten down tech come back to life. But watch out for those. Those are the first plays. Here are the Airbnbs that we grabbed. I only spent $80, and we have a lot of those old leaps and everything else, even some of those old April, May plays. So if they come back, that'll be nice. But I grabbed 2 of these at 40, and I just want to see, again, does Airbnb kind of keep moving? On the daily chart, this is bigger than an earnings move, and now it's back up to those levels. So we will see what happens. But there's the Airbnb play, and then I also grabbed a PSX. This one was a little bit more expensive, but I thought I'd go after oil. And the thing with PSX, they are an underperformer as far as oil. Again, a lot of them came down like XOM, Chevron, but they're holding up, and that's because PSX did not have a good earnings. So I grabbed one of the 87.5 calls for May, spent about $1.70. It wasn't really the best play there on Monday or on Friday. They were dropping and then they came up, but the play wasn't too crazy, so watch out for that one. But that's another one we're holding. And then I have the Ford from last week's. I grabbed these a couple days ago, but gonna be watching them again. Tesla has been holding it, so we'll see if some of the car makers come back, but anything chip supply chain issues, there just has not been a lot of good news, and they got crushed recently, so we'll see how that plays out. But we're holding these $19 calls, and they are at break even there for May. And then another play that we're holding, this one was from last week. We bought it after earnings. I think it was at like 20 cents, and then it came down as a post earnings, these April 210s, but now they are back above what I paid for them, so gonna be keeping my eyes out for these. But this is one of those Square beaten down tech, definitely watch out. But we're already in this play holding that. And then the Wells Fargo, I got another one of the 56 calls, or I think I grabbed 2 of them for, or actually only grabbed 1 for 70 cents. I still have the other ones that I spent $60 on, and remember, we sold out of the JP Morgans to make those free, so still watching financials and want to see if they come back to life here. But here are a couple of the other open plays that we're holding, and we still got the B&O, the wheat, and then that VWO that we talked about, and then any of the other equities that are doing a lot of work like Snapchat all the way down to those Airbnb leaps. So I want to see how this all plays out. Besides that, going to be watching some of the names we listed. JP Morgan, keep it on the list. Nike and Adobe for earnings, and then TLT and the dollar. I would watch the dollar this week. Last week was the first weekly decline, I believe, in about a month. So watch if this plays out, or again, if things cool down there with commodities, that will be a big driver. And then TLT, we'll see if it bounces, and I want to know how a bounce would affect any of the financials. That's why it'll be important this week. But if it goes any lower, that will set a new low point, and we'll really see the new narrative the market gets into it. Because now, if the rates go lower, we're going to see if you get that rotation into tech. It's time to see how the market starts feeling. Time to get into earnings, but we'll see if Powell could stop or speed up anything in the meantime. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure Hydrate Healthy ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet on. I need to remember, baby, you gotta chill. You're coming into another season. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm gonna see you in the morning. Let's go.